Welcome to the Polarized Podcast, baby. I am your host, James. This is the podcast about polarizing movies. Welcome to it. Weary podcast traveler, take rest by the fire of polarizing movie discussions, and let us tell you a tale of polarizing movies and the polarizing movie kingdom and the polar bears, all that inhabit that said kingdom. We are talking about a movie that audiences and critics disagree on today on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie being Things to Do in Denver When You Are Dead from 1995. This one, the critics and audiences disagree on it. The critics hate it. The audiences love it. It could be vice versa. It could still apply to our podcast because we talk about polarizing movies, the movies that audiences and critics disagree on. It is a 37% by the critics. It is a 72% by the audience. An audience favorite movie, you would say. And there will be some blokes here to discuss this movie with me. This oft disagreed upon movie is about to get revived in the world today to have another discussion. And to do that, I will need my trusty co-host, the great Brandini. Get on in here.
Oh, shit. Let's get on in here and start talking about a crazy movie.
I had never heard about this movie.
I had the wonderful pleasure of being on a Discord while you got to experience this movie for the first time. Question, did you watch it again at all today?
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we're perfect. So I got the pleasure.
I would like to say that even after watching it last night, it's like fresh in there, but also it feels like a fucking fever dream. So we'll see. We'll see what's actually stayed in there, and we'll manifest it in discussion today because I feel like there's a lot to fucking talk about.
There is so much to talk about.
If we really wanted to get into some of the weeds of it all. But this is something that is strange, and I had quite the time watching it.
Good. That was the point of this.
I think, yes. Yeah, it'll be worth a discussion, I think, because it seems to be at least how it looks on the scores here and a little bit of the reviews I looked at, that this is kind of it's not a cult classic, is it? Maybe it's like super cult classic, because I feel like the audience is jamming with it. They like it, and they're like, this.
Yeah, this rips.
Yeah, it's all those.
Absolutely. So I feel like this episode, because of especially our guests. So me and the guest that I'm about to introduce, watch.
I guess you say.
I guess I say. So me and this guest talk about movies all the time. And it's a weekly conversation. And time and time again, this guest will be like, I'm going to watch this movie. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put on that movie too. I work from home, so I can have like something up here while I'm doing work. I'm like, you know what? I always love to check in on movies and whatnot. And this movie just had me fucking reeling by the content of it. And then me and this so-called guest, I'm gonna get there. We're just
hypothetically, if there were a guest.
Yeah, hypothetically, if there were a guest. Just saying. I know, you know what? Anyways, we're jamming on this movie, and I was like, we gotta do this. We gotta get James in on the convo because this movie is worth talking about. So without further ado, I'm going to intro the guest. You Please. All know him in the Polar Kingdom. He's your polar daddy. He is a daddy himself. He's an all-star on the pod, Mr. Danny Burge. How the hell are you?
Hey. How's it going? Polar daddy, dude.
Hey, polar daddy.
I'm honored. I did not know I was the polar daddy.
It's all the little polar bears out there.
That's huge, man. That's
huge.
Polar Daddy presides.
I wear that proud. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna get an iced out chain that says Polar Daddy.
Polar Daddy reigns.
Please. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, take a hit of that. Okay.
Welcome to the show, Polar Daddy.
Wow, Polar Daddy. Polar Daddy.
Oh, Daddy's got a daddy, dude.
Yeah, he got a dabby. Am I right?
Daddy got a dabby.
Polar Daddy got a dabby.
You got your catchphrase. You dubbed the Polar Kingdom and the little polar bears. You know, you're divvying out knowledge.
All-star. So
Polar Daddy sits upon his mountain and divvies out the wise sayings.
So Danny, how did you come across this movie? So again,
Danny, why are we all here today?
Why are we all here today? Tell us how this happened. How did you come to finding this topic of discussion?
I try to look for like whatever like hidden gems or like around like on
the world.
I like to dig through a lot of the like the 80s
it's a talent scout.
90s stuff that like I missed when I was
metal
younger.
Detector.
And yeah, man, I
movie
like
metal detector.
This might have been one of those that was like last chance to watch before they like dump it off of the thing.
Oh,
I like those sections. I've been liking those sections.
Those are cool sections.
I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get these while they're hot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, right.
I'm not gonna let these.
I mean, in this day and age, absolutely. We're always talking about what platform's this on. Do I own that subscription? Yeah.
Who needs recently added? How about last chance before it just gets lost into the void?
Yeah.
Give me that section.
Give me that section. Lost in the void section.
Lost into the void of streaming.
I'm gonna buy it.
I gotta buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last chance before you another price tag.
Yeah.
So
So I came across it and I was just like I just started reading who was in it and I was like, all right, like let's just throw this on. And like I was like 30 minutes in and I called you. I was like, dude, you gotta watch this movie. Like
What do you remember which part it was? That you were like, I gotta call Brandon.
I don't know. Probably once by the time they were in the diner, like then I was like, dude.
So the
when he called that guy
pedo beginning.
What'd you say?
So the pedo beginning of the movie, you're like, wait a minute.
I'm like, Brandon.
That's how this movie starts. That's how this movie fucking starts.
What a wild!
Wow.
I thought it was a very wild choice to open the movie.
They
did not need that guy to be that like they really made him a pedo. Like they didn't have to do that. Like I mean, I guess
they absolutely did not have to do that at all because it really had nothing to do with anything. It was an upsetting way to start the movie.
He was upset after his breakup. They could have done that expressed that in a variety of ways.
Yeah, and it's not.
It could have been anything.
A tough problem to solve on film. You know, they just went right into crazy.
Which it was rough because it almost seems like, and at least Christopher Walken, but almost like the movie doesn't counter it at all. Where it's like the reason that he does this is because of the breakup, and it's like, hey, maybe there's something else going on there. maybe there's something a little deeper going on with him than just like, the fact that a girl broke. Maybe you shouldn't blame the breakup.
Absolutely, because it's only that's obvious. Talking this
the movie didn't
entire time.
Seem like that was an obvious thing to think. That it just like told the story of the Christopher Walken just laying down that story, and then you're like, that's about 10-15 minutes in, you're kind of like, is that what we're doing here? Is that what this movie's like setting this up? Wow.
It's not even like a kidnapping. It's not a this. It's that.
It's like rectifying a pedophile. Like,
yeah, dude.
You know,
like, it's like there's no good feels about like what we're doing at all. Like, there's nothing, no honor in it. Like, it's. Yeah,
we're starting to get it right into the movie, which I love because we have a lot to talk about on this pod. So just designating, we're starting the discussion about the movie, intros pedo, and then also the business that Andy Garcia, Jimmy the Saint, is running, which you were just alluding to, is called Afterlife Advice, I believe is what it's called. Afterlife Advice, yeah.
So the movie has just like voiceover throughout of different people that are giving
not necessarily just voiceover, but like also showing
the guy at the diner
in the booth.
Well, they do it like with 3 to 4 different like random.
They do because it's like the movie thinks it's so much cooler than it is by having this like tool in their toolbox. Whenever you want to frame a new section or what the purpose or like kind of thematic elements of a subsequent scene is, I'm going to put in somebody talking to their loved one about dying. And so there's this ongoing thing about how they set up with afterlife advice that we're going to watch videos of people who have ailments talking to their family members. And that is a cool idea. I want to say that's a cool idea, but I oftentimes don't think the movie does like deserves or like earns the heady, deep concepts that these people at the end of their life are giving. And I will say too that so much of the business of afterlife advice is undercut immediately as being a really stupid business. And that part bugged the shit out of me like the entire time, knowing that his business about this afterlife advice just is in debt, not making money. He also is, we're introduced to Jimmy the Saint, Andy Garcia, our main character, by him pitching his business to this couple.
I don't know. The first like video that he walks by, the first video he walks by is some like old dying dad telling his son like,
that women are
like, girls. I don't know.
Oh my god!
If you chase a dog and it runs, treat him like shit.
Oh my
god! That's what I did to your mother. Treated her like shit, and they come running, and like you're like, whoa. Like, immediately you're like, this isn't sweet at all.
This is right. This movie started off with a pedophile and then goes into this. It sets you on this. This movie wants you to hate its guts. Is what it's doing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, because it shows like some of the beautiful side later, but it's so strange that they immediately start with this like twisted, which the movie is fucking twisted. But they start with the twisted thing rather than show you like probably what happens the majority of the time is a heartfelt message from a loved one telling them what they want to hear before they leave this mortal coil. But then the first thing they show as they introduce it is like the most strange, fucked up version. So, which this movie plucked out of a box is the most strange and weird fucked up movie you could probably pick out of a bunch as well. So that's just it's a part of it, but that is something that almost I feel like belongs in like a Charlie Kaufman movie or something like that, or like the Eternal Sunshine sort of effect.
Absolutely,
like having that sort of like
sci-fi
departmentalizing like those sort of human emotions and feelings into this business and all that and finding a way to mix that in. There's no glue holding it together with anything, and those videos could be a lot better. Like what is it when Harry Met Sally? You know, when it shows like the interviews of the couples and everything like that. It relates and it comes back in later and everything, and whatever the Dust Bowl or whatever with Interstellar, like the people that are talking about the Dust Bowl and Interstellar, it's like there's ways to do that. Obviously, like that's a more heady movie, but you have something like Harry Met Sally, it's a romantic comedy. You can make it fun and make it interesting. And this one is throwing a lot of style at you with these heinous concepts and asking you to buy in. The problem is it just there's never that counter. And maybe like this, I don't know. There's a Tarantino thing with this movie that I feel like it's trying to be, and I don't want to harp on that for too long, but I feel like it's definitely trying to be this
let's get it out of the way.
Pulp Fiction sort of movie with the music record drops of the music and the type of music and the narration and the types of characters. And like when the pedophile at the beginning of the movie is apprehended, it starts playing some rock and roll. It's like, and it's like, this is like going to be a twisted movie, but it's asking you to buy in a way that's not, I don't know. It's just, it's missing the mark in such a obvious way. And you can tell that it's influenced by it. And there's a lot of movies at this time that were, but the clearest thing to me as we were watching Brandon last night, just to get this out of the way, is that there was a moment when someone had a gun and was like switching aim on somebody. And that was, as they were doing it, there was a sound effect and like the speed ramping of the camera as well. And that was just a clear, like, diner hold up with like Tim Roth and Bunny, you know, at the beginning of, well, at beginning end. Oh, which one is it? Beginning or the end? I don't know. You're going to find out. It's Pulp Fiction. But in that scene, the same sound effect as they change aim with the gun is like, it just like blew my mind. Some of those things that were editing
so
kind of like trademarks at the time in the 90s, because they hadn't been done before, and it was such a stylistic, cool sort of thing that I'm sure a lot of people wanted to jump on and do that kind of thing as well. So the movie is tinged in that, but the story it's telling is fucked up and weird. I don't know, maybe it's trying to take on a little bit of the Coen brothers sort of effect too, a little bit of Fargo or something, where at least fucked up things are happening. But there's like there's these interesting characters along the way, and they all have these eccentricities and all of that. But yeah, I'm just talking more as a whole about like the themes and kind of tones.
Yeah.
And so a lot of battling tones and whatnot, but that's part of a well done Tarantino movie as well. But how was your first watching of it, Danny? And how many times did you watch it after? What kind of effect did it have on you on the first time when you like credits are rolling, Warren Zevon's blaring? Like what was your feeling at that time?
It was, I mean,
after you talked to Brandon already,
it was goofy. I mean, I think we were like, we hopped on Discord. We were like watching. I feel like
cool. Okay.
We were at least I called you right after you finished.
No, I watched it and then called you back and I was like, wow.
I was like there was just a lot of swings with this movie, and it was fun, and it cracked me up, and it was like entertaining to watch. Like I definitely, you know, like with the timing of it and how you're saying that lines up totally, but like this movie does, like you're saying, it also has,
it's more than
like
that though too.
It has this kind of try too hard kind of feel that
I love in bad movies. Is the consistent argument I would make for this movie is that this is not a good movie. No, this is a bad movie, but it begs you to be like so confounded by decisions made, you know, because to James's point, and you know, we're having the discussion about the influence of Pulp Fiction here on this, and obviously it's so apparent that, you know, audiences from an executive standpoint, audiences are starved for this Pulp Fiction type material, so I'm going to greenlight anything that's similar to it. And so this movie gets made, and it has all of these stars in it, and there is a conviction to it, but it just like every which way, it just is so confounding. The like decisions made in this movie,
it like from top to bottom, like the bare bones of it as a script is batshit.
Right.
And then you get placed upon like these like stylistic notes like, hey, this is probably on its bare bones, and when you read the script, probably like a drama, like a gangster drama sort of thing. And then they see the like, maybe, but when they when they see the start of like Pulp Fiction, Trainspotting, whatever, and they're like, oh, we can make this like plus it up a bit and add some like flavor and style and not bum people out with the material and try to plus it up with some. And how it ends, I don't know, like the very last is boat drinks is a happy ending, even though it's not a happy ending at all, but they're like, hey, you know, like we want you to have fun leaving the movie. But I think I interrupted you, Danny. I don't know if you were trying to say something.
Real quick, can I just say, gentlemen, when I shift off this mortal coil, can you guys, if you're still around, go, Boat drinks.
Boat drinks. Hell yeah.
Boat drinks.
If this movie's done anything, then it's given us boat drinks.
And I'll keep reiterating through the discussion, but things like that are so visceral in this movie that whether or not they're deserved, totally up to discussion. But there are some lines in this movie where you're like, wow, what a thing.
It's so like overwritten that it borderline's like poetic when it's done well, but then the most of the time it's like no one speaks like this.
No one. What movie are we in? What time period?
We're not talking to each other.
So I was looking at trivia or whatever. I guess Scott Rosenberg, like it said that he based a lot of the dialogue off of like biker slang and
I saw that.
Vietnamese slang or something like that.
Sure.
It was the IMDb trivia, so take it with a grain of salt. But it says created the distinctive slang-based vocabulary used by the characters in the film by mixing Vietnam slang and biker slang and adding in some of his own original diction. Yeah.
Well, it makes a lot of sense though when like some of the stuff is just like all this like old weird whatever, but then others is like a man armed with only a fork in a land of soup. That's the Vietnamese. Like that's like means something in Vietnamese. It's like
I was dying at that line, dude. That line had me like rolling, and I'm like, I have to take that on and use that now. Like when I'm in a desperate situation, like I feel like I'm a man with a fork in a land of soup. I mean, we got to go through some of the lines. I can start with
where are we at in the plot?
Some of the beginning of my notes. Like the bitch's bastard is how he's kind of introduced. He does the little praise. Jimmy the Saint, the bitch's bastard. The guy, I forget his name with the mustache in the diner. I'm sure he's a classic old actor that I'm
the Sultan of Segway.
The Silver Naked Lady is the bar. You know, it's shot in Denver. Like I like these the setting of it because it does feel. Yeah, I like the look. Yeah, I like them walking and talking on the streets and stuff. Like feels like locales you don't see in a lot of movies. So that made it like interesting, and I'm sure there's some Denverites that maybe enjoy seeing their city, you know, in the movie as well, and that was kind of interesting. But I'll play this.
But Denver was not a noticeable like feature in the movie, though, right? Like we never got establishing shots of anything.
There's a couple.
There's a few steady establishing shots and stuff. Yeah.
It wasn't like gratuitous that like it was like. Yeah. Okay, take it easy. I know we're in Denver, but there was a couple. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I was gonna maybe we can start by just sharing one of the very memorable scenes we can just all watch together as Brandon and I. And Brandon's watched it with me, and he's watched it with you, Danny. So he's become an ambassador for this movie in a way. But I'm sharing it in the chat here. Let me know when you guys are ready, and we can. And I'm sure you guys at home will enjoy at least the dialogue, and you can get a taste for what the dialogue is. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's your name? Tremendous name. My name is Jimmy, and I just have one simple impulsive question.
One simple impulsive question.
What?
At the present time, are you in love?
Why?
Because if you are, then I won't waste your time. I'm really not the type of man to impede another man's happiness. However, if you're not presently in love, then I will continue my rhapsody, because if I may say so, Dagny, you are most definitely the bee's knees.
What is that line? Okay, wait, we got to go back at least on that one. All right, I know this is going to be exhausting.
Man's happiness.
This right here, what he says.
If you're not presently in love, then I will continue my rhapsody. If I may say so, Dagny, you are most definitely the bee's knees.
Bee's knees.
Does this rap ever work?
Alas, in the old days.
Right? It's working on you right now.
Try it, but you haven't answered my question.
I got it.
Are you in love?
Well, there is someone.
But?
We date. I have memorized his phone number, but I won't use his toothbrush. We're somewhere in between. And he's crazy about me.
Airbrush?
Should be. You glide.
I glide?
You glide. It's a very attractive quality. Most girls, they merely plod along. You, on the other hand, you glide. Tell me about it.
What's such a good line?
Alex.
Same
I
thing.
love it.
Does he make you thump?
Oh,
Define thump.
and thump.
When you think about him, you can't eat, you can't sleep. When he
You can't
smiles,
sleep.
you forget about man's inhumanity to
Oh.
man. Does he do that
That's
for
a
you?
ridiculous concept. No one can do that.
Girls who glide need guys who make them thump.
Boom.
Glide need guys who make
Have
them
dinner with
thump.
me.
Let's go,
Be the
dude.
Sultan of Segway.
It's a beautiful month. Just
Sold no
Are
segue.
you gonna make
Song
Catch that one?
segue.
girls who glide need guys who make
have
them
dinner with
thump?
me.
Aren't we the Sultan of
Girls who glide make
It's a
Segway?
beautiful month. Just have dinner with me.
Are you gonna make me thump?
Or die trying. Dinner.
Or die trying. Oh, wow.
She is such a smoke show. She's a
Just
Danny, calm down.
She's a
She does
nice
have
looking
beautiful
lady.
eyes.
I'm gonna regret this.
Only
And I was liking her 90s outfits.
Yeah,
Gentlemen.
very, very fit.
She had one that was very Cindy Crawford. But that is the meet cute. That is him laying down the Andy Garcia charisma. And that is some of like those poetic lines that don't work when you speak them. But I'm sure when what's his face, Scott
it's
Rosenberg,
so
was writing it down was just
Right.
like,
And he's like,
and that would go
"Scott,
well
you
in like a
said it
book or
again."
something. Like if like I will stop this rhapsody, but to be honest, I believe that you are the bee's knees. Like those doesn't work. And that's why I was almost like, is this like part like, yeah, and I get the Vietnamese slang meets biker slang, and I almost want to say like 30s like
Yeah,
beatnik
like
sort of shit
jalopies.
too. There was like, and I was, because there were certain times in the movie, this movie, that I was like, what year is it? Is it the 30s or the 40s or something, when they were going into
yeah, they
like
hang out in a malt shop.
the fecal freaks apartment.
No. Stop. We're not at Fecal Freak yet. Okay. Hold on.
I'm just saying the set design of that apartment was like someone in the,
I'm Godzilla. You are Japan.
in the Dust Bowl, as well as the woman who was like hanging laundry and stuff. I'm like, this looks like the Dust Bowl. I don't know what's going on here. And yeah, Scott and Rosenberg wrote the script in 2 weeks. It was partly in reaction to the death of his father from cancer, is what it says on IMDb trivia as well. And I can imagine the afterlife advice being a huge element of that, and the Christopher Walken character, of course.
Yeah, that made sense.
Yeah, but you decided to just be such a
jam it
cheeseball
into-
and doucher on everything else about it. There's like there are some interesting
Overcompensate everything.
there's some interesting concepts at play here. Like through this movie, it's just when you think about the like it's somebody, that's why like I've just immediately categorized him as a doucher, is like he's a person who's like more operating on vibes than operating on, in order to really achieve the vibe you're looking for, you need to do this and like this and this, and this is how the plot should go. And there's just so often in this movie where you're like, I get the feeling that you're trying to get at me, but like, you aren't here in the plot. You don't deserve even when it happens. It just is so crazy. But that's what also puts it into the bad movie category for me, is like somebody that is so, it's like a stupidly going into situations with a lot of heart. And I know that I've been
There's a story to
describing him
tell, and
Yeah.
or maybe 10, and he tries to tell them all. But there is some commitment to what's happening. It does hit that bingo list for a lot of those so bad it's good sort of things, and I think one of them is like a legendary performance from like an esteemed actor coming in and being the
sure.
and Christopher Walken at the end, and he eats up the scenery anytime that you see
Let's talk
him.
about him.
I think we should at least move past the inciting Christopher Walken, getting him in on this and getting his crew together, and then at least the whole deal gone bad in the road. At least get to there a little bit, and if you guys have anything to say about that. But Christopher Walken lives in darkness. Brandon multiple times said that he might be a vampire, and I would have believed that reveal at some point at the end of a movie where he just to be like, hey, Atwater, go get me my blood vial so that I may feast.
Yeah, I mean, the introduction to him, and then also him having that straw wheelchair thing was like pretty wild in and of
He
itself.
owned it. He did a pretty good job.
Owned
I
the
mean,
fucking hell.
As far as like the physicality of it all and the movement.
Uh-huh.
But then when they have him later on in that like sauna and it's like he's just sitting and I'm like
I forgot that was the third location.
All the branches, just his hot like
I think he was only in like 3
whipping
locations.
his dead legs with olive branches, like it's gonna bring them back.
I'm so
He's like, this is my time when my hot
Can somebody just
whips
impersonate
my dead legs?
Impersonate him getting food fed to him for me, please.
Oh
yeah, man, I could have just watched
Choo-choo?
a lot of that.
Choo-choo?
Like just
Airplane?
Choo-choo or airplane?
Let's do airplane.
Yeah, he's pretty fun when he's not
Guys.
threatening people to suck his limp dick.
Danny, James just dropped a hell of a quote about the choo-choo or airplane. Do you remember that?
Yeah, dude. That's
Where-
like,
That's what I-
that's where Walken's gonna have fun. No matter where he is, he's gonna have a good time. Like,
To be so like I like that to be like a child but be so menacing and evil at the same time. I thought that he knew that there was something there in the character to go for, even if the movie had a hard time filling it out.
yeah, you're like, this guy can still have fun.
Yeah, or he's just like this, like he's infantile in terms of like him and his nurse, but then he's also boss baby in front of all of his in front of all his goons and all that shit. Because he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill somebody, but maybe I want an airplane rather than a choo-choo today. I don't know. But this is just an aggressively like East Coast movie for Denver as well. I was like all these East Coast cats like that are transplants, I'm sure, which they don't really get super into. You hear that Andy Garcia has this like, I don't know what you would term it, but this New Orleans boss he owes him something.
Money, yeah.
Which in turn makes, Christopher Walken is higher up, which makes him, Christopher Walken's calling in the debt on him. But I was like, yeah, where are they originally from? Are they New Orleans? Are they, there's something East Coast, and he's came this way to do this. And it's not a front. It seems to be just him trying to be clean, Jimmy the Saint.
Him go legit.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie, there's somebody who says something about him like back in Brooklyn or whatever, and so it made it sound like they all were a crew in the Bronx or Brooklyn or something, and then maybe they all transplanted out here or something. But that's where it's like, well, how are they all here?
Yeah, all in Denver.
All know each other from back then. It's like everybody just was like, well, let's get out of New York and move to Denver. I don't know.
It seems so.
I'm going to move next to all my gangster buddies that I'm trying to get away from.
Everybody retires in Denver.
Yeah.
But that was. That's not the least. That's the least of this movie's problems. But you get this explanation from Christopher Walken of his son and what is proposed to or just required of Andy Garcia, and you can tell Christopher Walken's not a man to fuck around with. And
definitely not.
Brandon, maybe you can explain what he's asking Andy Garcia to do.
Yeah, so Christopher Walken is calling on Andy Garcia, leveraging him by saying, so you own this guy in New Orleans money, and that money is actually mine. And so I'm going to call that up and say, hey, you need to pay this, or you need to do this thing for me. And obviously Andy Garcia doesn't have the money. So then he does the thing. And the thing is that Christopher Walken son is the pedo in the beginning of the movie, and the reason that he's a pedo explained by Christopher Walken in a very funny way.
I was reminding me of him explaining a certain story about a watch a little bit, but continue.
He is asking Andy Garcia to rough up the new boyfriend of his son, the pedo's ex-girlfriend. And so that's the mission.
Years ago,
because he's essentially stalking her, and he's like, the dad's now enabling that by taking this other guy out of the picture and thinking that's going to solve it.
Yeah, which this is the stuff about the movie that's such a problem. Is like, so the goal is to just rough him up. If anything, it should have the goal.
It's vague as shit.
Should have been for him to get killed from the get-go, right? Like in a way that was like mysterious, that the girlfriend was like, oh my God, now I have this dead boyfriend. I'm going to go back to my old boyfriend, you know?
Even that, to that effect. Even if it was that, or if it was like taking a beat by Andy Garcia and being like, hey, at least consider any sort of alternative, because he immediately is just like, I guess this is what I got to do. And said, just be like, I don't know. Even if he never does it, the movie has to exist. I get that, but just have a little bit more hesitation with like, hey, is there any way I can get the fuck out of Dodge and forget about this altogether? But maybe that's a little drastic at the beginning of it. Maybe he thinks it's not going to be too much of a problem. He gets his crew together, his motley crew. I mean, there's some good good actors. I like his secondhand guy who meets the worst fate of all, I think. And
you're not talking about a Forsyth. You're talking about
Forsyth is awesome. I guess he's kind of the second-hand guy. I was thinking about the other guy who gets shot in the ass and thrown in a dumpster.
Big Easy.
Bill Nunn. No, Radio Raheem.
Give me a squeeze, big man.
Radio Raheem.
Give me a squeeze, big man.
Give me a squeeze.
Give me a squeeze, big man.
So let's go through these guys' nicknames.
Big man.
You ever feel like, it's like the last day of school and you're always looking forward to summer vacation, and once it comes, it just goes flying by like it never even happened.
And you're just like,
give me a squeeze, big man.
Give me a squeeze.
Sorry, Danny.
You're good. You're totally good.
Give me a squeeze, dude. Danny, give me a squeeze.
Just give me one good squeeze. So,
that squeeze.
Their nicknames.
You turned into the Exorcist demon there for.
Give us a squeeze.
Give us a squeeze. No, that's
Jimmy the Saint, Big Easy, franchise,
Critical Bill,
and then
Freak.
Pieces.
Christopher Lloyd, another Chris.
Let's talk about Christopher Lloyd, please. Yeah,
it's really funny that Lloyd's name is Pieces and his fingers are and his toes are falling off. Like,
dude, I hate.
He has a circulation issue.
I hate that.
They treat these characters like absolute shit.
Well, what was kind of
drives me nuts.
It really looked like his. Like, Christopher Lloyd has all his fingers, but they got some shots where it kind of looked like he had no fingers on that hand.
No, that's the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how they shot that.
He lost a toe and all this shit too. He's talking about
it has nothing to do
with
what they want him to serve as a character.
Every character has some weird quirk, man. The guys that pick him up, it's like, this guy's reading the dictionary.
So he works at a porn place. Like, he doesn't have to work at a porn place. It's a hat on a hat.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to work at a porn place and then also not have fingers. Like that. That's not. Yeah,
but then you don't have.
This movie has so many hats.
Yeah, dude.
This movie has like.
This is like a goddamn
hat emporium.
Haberdashery.
A haberdashery.
Ooh, can we open up a haberdashery?
Haberdashery?
I mean, yeah. We can do that.
Are there any other things that are dasheries? Or can you be a monger of any other things? Like, you can monger cheese. Can you monger anything else?
You can be a fishmonger.
A fearmonger.
You can fearmonger.
Oh, fuck. Damn.
You could be I don't know. I mean, there's got to be more.
There's got to be more.
Those are fun words.
A mummy monger.
How about instead of
I'm a Reese's peanut butter cups monger. Ooh. I'm so bad.
Yes, please.
Yum, 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 yum. Do they have heart ones for Valentine's this past Valentine's Day that I missed?
Heart monger.
I feel like I like the Christmas tree ones. Those are a nice little.
Oh yeah.
I like where it comes
those
to a
are
point.
the Easter egg ones because they have more. There's more peanut butter to chocolate ratio.
Yeah, and it's oblong.
I'm with you there. Or I get the big cups, the Reese's big cups. Those are not bad.
Ooh,
those are good.
Yum.
My favorite were the inside out ones that no longer exist.
Inside Out. Oh,
Peanut butter outside, chocolate on the middle.
On the inside.
I'm with that.
That's fucking
You down
sick.
with that?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Let's see if I missed anything
so
else
Lloyd,
in my
Lloyd.
notes here.
Anything else left to say about
Oh, Christopher Lloyd. Yes, can I quote the one line, my favorite line of his?
Please.
I had a snap brim hat, and when I walked into a room, forget about it.
Yes, that's what I wanted.
Whenever I walked into a room, forget about it.
Forget about it.
It's-
That scene, I
had a
was in
snap brim
tears.
hat.
I was in tears during that scene. Christopher Lloyd is so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He made me really care. I was like, I could picture him in that
He made me give
hat.
a shit
Yeah.
in this movie that is so cynical and so up its own butt. And he just like
has heart.
gives you a fucking performance
Mhm.
that is really.
I wish he would have taken that ticket to Rome. I wish we would have
Dude,
gotten
I
to see
would've-
him on the
oh.
boat at the end. And if he's the only one that made it out, I would have been like,
Yeah.
you know, and he's like cheersing somebody and his pinky falls off or something. It would have been fucking hilarious. But like, I think
He's got a ticket to Rome.
redemption. There would have been a little bit more redemption, but we'll get to that at the end.
No, this is
but-
it's really
Did you guys
dark.
know, hey, real quick, did you guys know the reason that Fast 10 had their premiere in Rome is because there's a character in the Fast series called Roman?
Yeah, they make that joke like 20 times in that movie. We talked about it. All of us here today.
Yeah, they're big on wordplay over there.
I know, guys, but I'm still thinking about it.
When Roman like makes that joke, he like does it in a way that all of the people in the audience are reacting the same way that all the other characters in the movie are acting, because he's just like, well, I'm going to head up the Roman mission because my name is Roman. I'm going to head up the Rome mission because my name is Roman. Get it? Rome? Rome. And he does that whole exercise of like, do you get it? I will explain it to you now, so that will make it funnier. Because things are always funnier when you explain them.
Little baby birds. We're all little baby birds. And then we're just feed it to us. Feed it to us.
Yes, explain the joke to me. I love it.
Yeah,
I love when
I love
the joke
it.
is explained to me.
Explain to me. Oh, I listen to Coldplay.
They got some good songs. Anyways,
Yeah, they do. Yep. Anyways.
Parachutes is great.
Okay.
There's a line about
Russian blood to that school.
first two, the three is a little drop off. There's a moment where Christopher Walken likens the because
God, he's a
he's talking
werewolf?
about being he's like a liberal now. The Andy Garcia character, he's like, you're such a liberal, and you start saving rainforests, and that leads to chugging cock.
Smoking,
Yeah.
polls. Yeah.
Just-
He
he goes into him.
he's like, what's that?
He
place
is
you work?
so
Helping dying
homophobic.
fags or something.
Yeah, he said says that earlier
He
too.
calls them VDs. He just calls people VDs.
Virus breeders, VBs.
Yeah, VBs.
breeders.
Right,
It's
that's
like,
right.
Whoa, yeah.
Whoa.
Like,
Use the pillow biter thing, dude.
but this guy's he's not even mad or anything. He's like just giving his friend shit. So it's just like he's just going real hard on that. Like while his
I know,
son is a
right?
They just
But
make him
it's like-
so nutso balls to the wall that like he's not like how did he even make it to being a mob
That's
boss?
a balzo off the wallzo.
No.
Yeah, because it's like you see him in this big house with no one around. It's like, how did he get to this position? Because he must have been like sharp as a tack at some point. I want to see that side.
we got to write a Netflix, prequel Netflix show.
Balzo to the wallzo.
I love that title.
Give it a name.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just looking at some.
It's called pull my cock out of my pants.
Oh my god,
Pull my
Atwater.
lipstick out and stick it.
Atwater, get over here.
Atwater.
Wow, Atwater. Crazy as a shithouse rat is one of the lines. Crazy as a shithouse
I love
rat.
that line.
Walken does dance at one point in like a brief flashback of like the son's life. There's like a little glimpse of like he's just got to do a little dance and everything he's in. I love it. It's the best.
He's an amazing dancer. I think it's crazy how many times people say "give it a name," like where they just pepper that phrase into everything.
There's a bunch of peppering. This movie's
like
over
minute and a half. When he's on screen. Yeah, like
this is an over peppered movie.
This is blackened.
More pepper than movie.
Yeah, because then that older gentleman that's like a mentor or whatever who explains a lot of explains boat shoes.
Exposition
boat
and boat shoes.
That's cool too.
And that's cool too. Hey,
nice, comfortable pair of dock shoes. Yeah.
He's also the gentleman that says that Critical Bill is piss, pesticide, and petroleum jelly
full of
running
petroleum
through those veins.
Yikes!
Whoa.
He had that one locked and loaded. I wonder if he describes that, like uses that for anybody else, or it's just Critical Bill. He's like, yeah, you made me come up with this great phrase. Let me tell it to you.
Piss, pesticides, petroleum jelly.
That's the only way I describe him.
PPPJ.
This is right after he is seen punching a dead body as a punching bag.
Oh my God, but that's therapeutic for him, right? We're all on board.
And this is like the Ocean's 11 thing. You're like, I got to recruit my team. All right, let's go get Critical Bill. And then it's just this man that is
you son of a bitch.
All right. So James just brought up a good point about the plot of this movie. So
this is like a heist. It's opening.
They need to ostensibly rough up the boyfriend of the ex-girlfriend, right? That's it. That's the mission. Is to just like send him a message, say like, hey, don't date her.
School.
Yeah,
right?
Like that's and like this lady's gonna just come running back to this dude who's just a real piece of shit. Now,
if everything went according to plan, it still wouldn't fucking work. Like if they went through all of it and then Christopher Walken was like, okay, well, like what's like, why aren't they together now? Like, would he still just be like, it's all your fault, Andy Garcia, or would he like move on?
Yeah, you're on the hook to parent trap these people now.
Yeah, you got.
Wait, it's not called parent trap. It's called buckwheats.
You must parent trap a person of mine.
Yeah, they got buckwheats on them, which
wheats.
Okay, so
every single fucking character in the movie said buckwheats for the next 20 minutes, dude. It's like everybody's just like buckwheats that, buckwheats this, and it's just, oh my God, we get it.
So yeah, I mean the scene on the road, that was I think maybe the best scene in the movie.
It was pretty fucking wild. Like
how it plays out, so and I think the most like successful and accomplishing like a Tarantino feel to a scene. Not saying that's like the only thing they wanted to do, but that's what this movie reminds me of. And that scene is filled with tension, and the dialogue works pretty well, and the ratcheting up of the all the checks and balances of making sure that the plan should go well. Like they have like oversight over Christopher Lloyd and Critical Bill and the plan, and like it's overall going okay. And it just so happens this guy like knows the uniform thing, like he knows his rights. I'm from Los Angeles and knows exactly what to do. But I love that sort of, and Christopher Lloyd playing it so well, like the being able to like,
and he's got
you can tell fingers. That just his tension in his eyes and trying to hold it together. Yeah, I think that plays the best, and I was blown away, just like the girlfriend, as to what happened.
And I can attest to somebody
who worked. A lot of the movie didn't. That part worked.
Audioly got to experience this movie with James, where when that stuff happened, it was shocking. And it's shocking to me as well, but like to get to hear that was so fun, because again, the movie is so brash and so big, and there's some moments in this that you're like, holy shit, this is where this movie's going.
Well, I was laughing really hard at him. He gets dragged out of the car by Critical Bill. He's standing against his car. And he's just given so many chances to just like shut the fuck up and go with the plan. Mm-hmm. But then he constantly like chirps up And because like that's kind of what the movie needs a little bit but the lengths that they go to like drag that out was hilarious to me, because like he's calling them out for it, they drag him out, and then he puts a knife up to him, and Christopher Lloyd holds a gun to Critical Bill. Like okay, like this is as like gnarly and like ratchet up tension as it could get. And then somehow it's still like they assuage the situation. The knife gets dropped. Or like even before that, he calls him a cracker, and then the knife comes out. He calls him a cracker, and then after he beats him up, and then he pulls the knife out, then drops the knife after he already did the like, you stupid cracker. And then right after he drops the knife, and he's just like, okay, we're done. Things are going to move on. And then it just like slowly like looks at the dude all beat up and just leaning against the car, every chance to shut the fuck up. And he's like, you stupid cunt. And then the guy fucking like
he pulled
Assassin's
a belt
Creed
knife out, and
it was like Assassin's Creed
knife.
It was Assassin's Creed situation where he like has a knife in his wrist that like activates, and then he just goes.
It was a belt knife. He like pulled it out from here. It's like this one.
I know, but
like that,
right? But it was like a smaller. It was like a shuriken almost.
It was like a little blade. Yeah. But
and then bingo, bango, bongo, girlfriend Deadzo.
Yeah. Like then Lloyd just pops her in the fucking head like that. And like, man, they got like a shot of like just pieces flying off of her fucking head. Like that was probably the most shocking part of it. But then like, but then it cuts to then like immediately they're back somewhere else. And
there was a pedophile at the beginning of this movie. Remember that?
No, I meant in that moment.
Pretty shocking.
But
that was like obviously like in a stupid way shocking. I agree. This is like the most like, and I was invested in the moment. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot in this movie.
It cuts to like when they're like he's like the dude's like, you got to clean this shit up and whatever. They fucked us. Like we're totally fucked. All that, and then. Like it cuts to like Critical Bill, like immediately trying to explain like why
downplay the
like,
situation. Yeah. He's like, he was talking shit. Are we gonna let people talk shit on our fucking teammates? And you're like, so that's why this is happening? Like,
fingers. Like,
do you realize the person's dead? That's the problem here. You're like, oh, here, you know what? She deserved it.
At least I'm right.
He's like, you shouldn't have put me up front, man. Like,
maybe dead, but I'm right.
I can't believe that fucking happened in this movie where he pitches himself to do that. Then Andy Garcia caves, lets him do it, fucks it up, and then he has the audacity to just be like, dude, it was kind of your fucking fault. And we saw that all in the movie. That is so crazy. Like, never do you get that in a movie where it's just like this whole
like you made this happen, and then you're like you're an idiot for letting me do it. Like, yeah, that's amazing. It felt a little.
Could you imagine seeing that in a Marvel movie? You're like, you're an idiot for letting me do that. I was
stupid Batman. So like after that happens, then like we have. Meanwhile, he's going on these dates with this chick, and
that's already happened. We're past that.
He's thumping. She's gliding.
Yeah.
No. But after that, then they have their first date when they go out to that like Italian restaurant. That's already happened, but I mean we didn't bring it up. But I'm just gonna say like the
bed in the living room.
Not even.
All right. You don't like her bed in the living room?
No, the thing is that it is not just in the living room, which is pretty crazy, but whatever. I kind of dug it a little bit. But the fact is it's not up against a wall. It's in a corner. So there's a corner of a room, and then it's diagonally in the corner. So there's just this empty space in the back of it. And
they wanted that Denver skyline. You get a little Denver skyline
move.
If she's got a bed in the living room, that girl's a freak, dude. And that's all I'm gonna say. Is
it her?
She glides.
I mean,
he thumps.
He's thumping.
But it's like she's like there's no. The whole house is the bedroom, like the whole apartment's the bedroom. That's like that's a wild move, man. Like
it's a cool move.
That's like, I don't have a TV. I just have my bed for entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's all right, dude. So anyways, like, but his whole line where he's like, I don't kiss on the first date, this and this. And then he leaves, and then he knocks on her door again. And he's like, well, on my way to the elevator, I saw it was like 12:01. So technically it's our second date. And then boom, he's like that. Do we think Andy Garcia is smooth, or do you think this is the cheesiest guy on the planet? Like,
no, I think
he's got charisma. Yeah,
he's got. Charisma.
I think Andy Garcia is very smooth for the dialogue that he's given and everything.
The dialogue is.
He's got those eyes. He kind of like furrows his brow, looks down a little George Clooney-ish, and just kind of like.
But he sells it. Yeah.
I think he's smooth. The dialogue is bad shit. I mean, for him to have the conviction for the glide thump line, like, he sells it as good as anyone can.
Anyone could.
This whole movie, for that matter.
The line where he's like,
agree.
I want to come in there more than I want the ascot to come back in style.
Oh,
what are these lines? What are these lines?
My favorite line of the movie. I brought it up to both of you. I was like, bros.
And he's wearing one later.
That line rips.
Grandfather said.
It's like, I want an as bad as ascots to come back into style. Oh, whoa!
Oh, that's love, baby.
Well, so now we get to like the second half of this movie, I'd say, in the fallout of the deal gone bad, and there are like tropes within the movie, I'd say, of that, at least in like the gangster movie, of like a deal gone bad and the fallout of it, and the boss having to come and rectify it and follow up and take out everybody. Even just recently in The Killer, that's kind of the whole thing of The Killer is except it's reversed. I guess he's going after the person who hired him. But that, I don't know, this second half takes a more, that's more straightforward, at least, of like deal gone bad, just on the run. Okay, that's more straightforward than like I have to rough up a guy who's dating the girl of a pedophile who's the son of my boss. That's so convoluted and everything in such a weird way right off the bat.
And brothers.
Yeah, pretty much. And then combined with the subplot of Fairuza Balk, which is a whole separate side thing that ends up coming through at the end. The through line of his arc really ends with her as well, so it's not completely thrown out, because it seems like pretty inconsequential through a lot of parts of it, because you're like, well, this is his love interest, but then that falls by the wayside because he is dealing with some real kooky stuff. But the way that it ends with Fairuza Balk at the end, wow.
Right.
We can
Such
get
potent semen.
Yes, we can get there, but I guess the second half.
Just a one and done kind of guy.
Yes, and she said it. She made it true. She is a witch after all, from The Craft, and so she said, "Put a baby in me."
I'm ovulating, and I'm going to tell you the days so you keep track of it in the movie, which I didn't want to do.
But now you know. Now you know that it's one and done. She's good to go.
I was.
And I also like how he booped the other girl's nose after. He's like, I gotta go. And he's like, see you later. Boop. Boop. Love you.
Love ya.
Who wants a kiss when you can get a boop, you know?
Okay. Is that going to be on your bumper sticker?
Boop me, big man.
I think, I think Andy Garcia, like, I think he's a good lead. He's good in this, like, for what it is.
He's charismatic. Yeah,
he is. But also there is, like, you know, there is a sleaziness to him that it makes him kind of perfect for this role too, in a way. Yeah, where you can see him dancing between both sides of these, whatever. I think the whole Fairuza Balk thing was just a wild, like. I mean, he just
maybe my least favorite part of the movie. I don't know. There's a lot of bad.
It had the most to say, though, right?
I mean,
Like this, I don't know. Like he's a good guy. I mean,
I think it's more. It's more. He wanted to have something to leave behind.
It seemed inconsequential until the very end. It like was like, oh, this actually means something. And I don't know. Maybe if there was, I don't know. There was this movie how it paced that along with his death advice, whatever that is called.
Oh, like, dude,
like those two things are such disparate things in this movie that has so much going on in it at the very core of it, and to have these subplots and a love story on top of it is like, it's a lot to bring all those things together.
Well, and the fact that his plan was the order comes down that everybody's going to get buckwheats, which we find out is like getting taken out in the most painful way possible. So people are in agony before they die, which is generally, the guy says, somebody getting shot up the ass. Mm-hmm. And it takes them like 15 minutes to die.
So he's going to all his guys and giving them an out blades. And telling them to get the fuck out. Right.
Yeah. And like, I mean, once you're at that part, first of all, I'm going to say that's when you're really like, wait a second. So now this is what the movie is. We could have gotten here any other way than pedophile, like murder this lady. Like,
oh, that's when you started questioning. That's when you started questioning.
No, that's not when. But I'm saying that it was very clear. It was like, okay, so there's not going to be any other part of this story that we needed any of that shit for. So,
right,
unsurprising.
That's what I'm saying. The second half is like simplified for sure.
Well, they thought so little about the first half, and it's apparent, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was almost like the first half was just to get to the second half, but then you chose this wild way to get there. And then
simpler and better. It's so weird how you could say it could be simpler and better, right? Like it gets so all over the place for no reason.
This script is bananas. I don't know how you'd be like, oh, if you just did this, if you just did that, like, I don't know how you do that with this one.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying if you just did this or that. I'm saying like everything, like the motivation of some of the scenes was probably just so somebody could say one of these like
lines,
weirdo lines, or just it's like somebody writing for the sake of like just being able to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like then I'm gonna bridge everything to this island for no reason. And like
it's like working backwards. It's like working backwards.
A little reverse engineered, I guess, but to what end?
Reverse engineered, where you're like, we have to have a scene that's like this in Pulp Fiction, and then I got to reverse engineer.
But it seems like this second half seems like a heist or something gone bad, or some other job that makes way more fucking sense because it's just a job gone bad. But the job is fucking weird. The job's
weird. And they also handled the job's like externalities very quickly by all the bodies just get put into a fucking grave with a coffin with somebody else, and then it's over.
That was very Scorsese. That was kind of fun.
I love when
at least that was like a fun detail, not like very morose, very dark, but like that's the kind of dark humor that you would need in a thing like this, of like guys like lifting the coffin being like, oh, this is kind of heavy, and dropping it. So I'm like, this is that's like a Scorsese like, sort of Goodfellas thing for sure.
Yeah, that was I really liked that shot. Like it felt like when the guy was explaining, like, you just throw your hips in here, blah blah. Like
coffin
that was
TV.
A little what?
Coffin TV.
Coffin TV. Coffin
you know where it's just a coffin flop. Coffin flop. Where it's just naked dead bodies falling.
Oh, okay.
Bodies breaking through shit wood and hitting pavement.
Oh god,
just the best.
When those guys pick up that coffin, that made me laugh. That was a nice little detail. I mean, there's little nuggets of like gems and stuff, but also like the way that they then go from there to like, then he's got they introduce Steve Buscemi's character, Mr. Schiff.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Which is like is supposed to be like the craziest hitman who does all the buckwheat.
It's like Fargo,
and like whatever. Yeah,
and a little bit Con Air. His sort of mysterious, deadly character doesn't say much, but like will fucking just kill you with a look.
Scott Rosenberg has a writing credit on Con Air.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So maybe
he's got the whole world
in his hands. He's got.
Maybe he's the one who gave us the line of he wore somebody's head to state he drove across 2 states.
How did they do that, Danny? How did they do it? How do you wear a person's head as a hat across 2 state lines?
Look, that's Scott Rosenberg. That's hat on a head. Like a head on a hat. That's what we're talking about here.
Head on a hat.
Head on a hat.
It's got to be our guy. Like, if I know one guy who knows hats on hats.
Hats.
Heads on hats on heads on hats.
But yeah, they introduce him and like in the best way when he sees like those guys beating up that kid in the alley or something, and he just like casually like shuts those dudes down. That was great. Like,
makes him seem scary.
And like you still kind of didn't buy him like being like some deadly crazy hitman until like
you didn't.
That was the establishing scene for sure. That scene was used as establishing like, he could just like walk up to a crew and fuck them up. Yeah.
Once you had the scene with Big Wind in that bar, that was where Buscemi was. But it's a bar that's hiding Big Wind, like to take care of him, and they think that he's safe and protected, and that guy comes in and like shoots
the guy from
everybody.
Showgirls. We're all Verhoeven fans. How do we feel about that actor in Showgirls? Pretty crazy role.
Oh, is it the guy next to Don Cheadle?
Yeah.
The guy in the suit.
Okay. In the suit.
Talk to him. What a crazy performance he has in.
I guess his name in the credits, Don Cheadle, was spelled DAWN, like the dish soap. Don Cheadle.
Wow.
Or like Twilight Breaking Dawn.
Twilight Breaking Don Cheadle. He gives Steve Buscemi shit of like coming into my place dressed like that, and he's like, "You guys are both wearing suits," but he also has that hat on. I don't know. He looks a little twerpy with the hat and the briefcase. But yeah, it's essentially Buscemi running through the crew. The second half is so methodic in a weird way, where it's Andy Garcia going one by one, offering them like, "Hey, get the fuck out," and then Buscemi going one by one, just offing them. Yeah. That's kind of how the second half kind of plays out. The moment where he goes to when you see Critical Bill's place, which I mentioned earlier, the fecal freak. Right. This is the most upsetting maybe of the movie, of just being in the room with fecal freak.
Why, James?
Oh, I don't know, Brandon, because he pissed in a milk jug while having a conversation. And you had to like sit there and just take it. This wasn't like a quick, this was just like, yeah, so anyways, let me just, and then you like put it back in the fridge. It was like milk in that carton. And then he just like piss into it, add piss into the milk, and then put it back. And then he's like, ate fucking a tuna can with his bare hands. I was so uncomfortable. And Andy Garcia had just like a piece of paper, like newspaper over his nose, just to cover the smell. And I was like, is this the 30s? I don't understand. Is this man? Yeah, it was. And then he explains his origin story of being a fecal freak and how poop tastes. Yeah, it's pretty upsetting.
Yeah,
he describes the taste of poop,
like styrofoam.
Yeah, chewy or whatever the fuck. It was. Yeah.
Well, but that's why. But he's why in the beginning when they get into the fight, he's like, "I'm not working with this guy," and like he's like, "He's a fecal freak." It's like he's not working with him because he saw him eat shit one time. Like, dude, like whatever. Like what? Like it's not like he like killed your sister or something like that. It's like. So the guy, like I mean,
if I went over to a guy's place to be like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" and then he like was like, "Yeah, let me just like piss in my milk and eat some tuna," and be like, maybe not. Maybe we'll hang out another time."
That's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying in the beginning, the guy wouldn't work with him just because one time in jail, somebody paid him to eat some shit. I'm just saying, like it's just a wild move to be like, I'm gonna turn down a 10 grand job.
I feel like that's the top of the list of things against him.
Yes.
I feel like there's a list, and he's just
Fair
like,
enough.
oh, there's
Yeah.
this.
Like that's
Let me just give you the
that was the icing on the cake. Yeah, that was the last straw. Fair enough. All right, I'm back on board.
I'll go through a couple other notes before we barrel to the end here and get into some reviews. Let's see. He was a fuck was one of the lines. Hey, Green Louie in my face was a walking line. One of those. The hand high five thing that they would just like not do a high five, but they would just kind of like hold hands for a second. It was nice with Christopher. It made sense with Christopher Lloyd's hand because you can't really do a hard one, so you just kind of.
Yeah.
Well,
Dude,
remember they say why they do that. They say why they do that.
Oh, did they? I missed it.
Visit somebody when you go to visit somebody in prison.
There's glass.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Boat drinks.
That's why they do it.
Gotcha.
Boat drinks. Yeah.
Say no more.
Boat drinks. Boat drinks.
Boat drinks, guys.
And then the mustachioed man in the diner says one of my favorite lines as well. We've kind of laid out most of the best ones, but this one was, life is a mustard burp, momentarily tangy and then gone in the air. Life is a
It's
mustard
a great line.
burp. Life, but this is the so good it's bad kind of like the dialogue is so earnest in what it's like.
Right.
I'm trying to say something deep, but it's like done in the most like backwards way possible.
Cynical.
Like, if the moon were a rack of ribs, would you eat it?
It's like nothing matters. It's a mustard burp. Who cares?
I love mustard burps. That's why my friends call me Chester.
A mustard burp.
Yes, and then the choo-choo airplane, very good. And then begging for his life. You know, that whole scene was pretty fucking intense, and then all of a sudden it got hilarious. It's crazy how like it would get so intense and scary, and like, oh, Christopher Walken. Well, because it starts with choo-choo airplane, so you're already kind of like, and then it gets into like really intense, like beg for your life. Beg for your life. And then it cuts over to Atwater, and then he's like, yeah, beg. Yeah, beg for your life. And then Christopher Walken's like, yeah, take my dick out. Take my dick out, Atwater. Take my dick out.
That's my lip dick.
Flaccid dick out of my pants.
Well, and I mean, it's also, he said some really scary shit before that.
Yeah,
like, we're gonna send some crackheads over to her house and all this shit. Where it's like, oh my god, and then he comes over the top with Atwater, whip my dick out. We're like, damn, this guy's just the boss, dude.
It swings between true romance and balls of fury. I don't know. You never know which Christopher Walken you're gonna get. But. Wow, what a scene. I don't know, there's like memorable scenes in this, as like bad of a movie as this is. There's like some memorable shit in here with memorable people and performances and things that are written in a tapestry of a way that doesn't connect, but then like pops in certain ways. There's scenes that just like pop off the screen. And then my last note was, you've got to accentuate the positive.
I listened to that before I got hopped on Discord. I love that song.
It's great, and that's the Bing Crosby version, right? For whatever reason, it wasn't on Apple Music, but I'm gonna find it. God damn it! There was like a Perry Como version and like an Aretha Franklin version, but it's a great song. And there were some other like guitar riff, kind of like Dick Daley kind of guitar riffs that were Pulp Fiction-y to me as well. But I would like to take a little break, or you guys have any other notes? Boat drinks. That was the end of this week. Again, there was like, they tried to like remind you of like, hey, you know, you had a good time. Look at all these like fun characters that you got to spend time with, even though most of them are, no, they're all dead. They're all dead. And then Andy Garcia impregnates, has very powerful semen. Very powerful. Impregnates for his bulk is a big move, and she goes on a bus and leaves Denver, and
he leaves the child a video because he has a.
Oh my god, that's how it all comes. That's how that comes together, and he gives his list of things to do in Denver before he doesn't give that list. He gives some other lists about things to do in life, but wow,
he was able to do all that shit before they got to him, like where he like knocks her up. He goes and records all that video and everything, and they're like, "Well, we'll give him." And then he goes and kills the
He goes and kills the
pedo and everything, Like, so all that, and like before anybody could get to him, and it's like, I don't know. It just shocked me that
he walks into an office with a bunch of fucking people, hog ties a man's neck and threatens him in front of everyone and sees no repercussions. He just jump cuts to him at the diner. So they acquitted you, huh?
No, he just says
no charges, huh?
No charges, huh? And that scene was just like, oh, that just meant nothing. That was completely inconsequential. Okay.
Wasn't that cool?
So that just happened.
That just happened.
Anyways.
So it sounds like you're gonna impregnate that girl later. I would have. What if? Okay, I mean, maybe this is twisted. So what if he impregnated both of them? He's got very powerful semen. What if they're both pregnant at the end of this?
He's just like bam, 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 bam.
That sounds like a Dane Cook joke. I feel like it is. Anyways.
Oh, hello.
Bam, bam. I don't know. That sounds like it.
Sounds like a Emerald Lagasse joke.
Aha. He's the Emerald Lagasse of banging.
Fucking. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
it's getting off the rails.
This was too much for Danny. That's when you know. Let's take a little breaky break. And we shall return with some reviews, our thoughts, and maybe a little game. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Hey, so Danny is still stepped away. James, you're back though, right?
Oh yeah, I never left, back. Baby. We're doing Polarized Pod when you're dead, not me, baby, because I'm living life and loving it, Dracula style. Leslie Nielsen.
Hello. Okay, so we're back in a really big way, but Danny is not back yet. But he told us in his stead, while he's away, to let our special guest take some time and give us some insider
info. Have a new special guest?
Yeah, we got a new special. I know. This is special.
This is quite the episode. This is the things to do in Denver when you're dead about all Polarized Pod episodes.
That's what I'm saying. I've been
new
saying
characters, interesting new layers.
There's layers. There's poor writing. Anyways, so we got some insider info.
Production value questionable.
Yeah, morals very questionable. We got an insider from Denver crime unit, and this person,
wow, no way,
has been a fan of the pod, and
really
kind of knew.
They called in?
Like, it was tuned in. Yeah, tuned in. They heard the last episode. They stay up on it. They're in the know, and they just demanded that they be on the pod. And so in Danny's stead,
news to me. This is very surprising.
I don't know, being a dad, doing noble ass shit, mind you, but we want to introduce
it's noble ass shit for sure, Brandon. Thank you.
It's noble ass shit. But we want to introduce I don't know. I'm sorry. What's your name?
The omelet. The omelet is what they called me on the streets.
The omelet, sir. Hey, welcome to the pod.
I grew up in the Denver organized crime scene. I was big in organized crime in the 90s in Denver.
Yes,
I can tell you out of any movie about mafia, anything like Sopranos, Donnie Brasco. Things to do in Denver when you're dead has the realest look at how organized crime really used to be.
Right. And so
this is how people talked. This is what people did. This is how people acted. If you needed to beat something up, you beat up some dead bodies. Forget about it. No big deal.
I'm sorry. What is your name again? One more time.
The omelet. Just call me the omelet.
The omelet. The omelet. I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever served as like a consulting producer on any of these fine programs or movies that you have discussed, or have you just been so embalmed in the street knowledge of it all that
I've been embalmed, but I've also I have
ventured outside of that.
I've been embalmed though.
Uh-huh,
I mean, don't think I haven't been embalmed. I mean, like I've been embalmed, all right,
in the streets, of course. But have you taken into the baptized into Hollywood?
I've been embalmed, but I've been baptized too. Yeah, like you could say I've pretty much spent my life being baptized and embalmed. You know.
Wow, what
is Jimmy the Saint based on anybody?
Easy to say, you know, like you could say that. You could say that.
Wow,
it's easy to say that.
So
it sounds like you're saying
it. Question I have for you, the omelet, Mr. Omelet.
Yeah.
Are most crime organizations in Denver run by cripples?
Brandon, we don't use that term.
Yes. Like
the movie uses that term.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James. Yeah, it's like to be better, you could say the abled or or what is it? Is it abled or not non-abled?
It sounds like you're kind of a social justice warrior.
I'm at a loss for words to jump to the conclusions of using words like Brandon would. But I, I'm not. I'm just not gonna say what you so quickly said. Is all I'm saying.
Well, would you stereotype mob bosses in Denver as a certain ilk, race, or handicap otherwise?
I mean, this day and age, you've got them all, but really, any crew that's worth a salt is going to be run by somebody
There's a lot of
mentally handicapped or physically handicapped. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. Like we don't make the rules. We just,
So if you had to pick like the most accurate mob movie, I feel like we're on one of those Vanity Fair videos. This is the one.
Yep. This is pretty much how it goes.
What does this movie do that other movies don't so well?
What it does is it's so much as to say, like it paints the picture that you don't have to do nothing if you just say a lot of stuff in the meantime. You say enough things while you're doing just a few things, and then those few things seem like a lot of things. Like it's
right.
It's easy that way.
Do you have a cold? I feel like it's kind of your throat will clear up for a second, and then there's like a frog or something.
Let's say who's ever supposed to be modulating my voice and modulating it enough as much as it should be.
Right.
It's not my fault. It's your people. Like, your people said they protect me, like I was told I was going to be given complete anonymity.
No, we'll talk.
Yeah, it's our tech. It's our tech.
Yeah. Where's my anonymity, Brandon? Like, come on, Brandon.
No, wait.
Wait just a second. Can I ask
protect me? My ass is grass.
Yeah, Mr. Omelet. How did you get that name?
Senor Omelet. I prefer to be the Senor Omelet, please.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Senor Omelet.
And thank you.
Why?
Oh well, I feel Senor has more gravitas.
You're not wrong.
Part.
Thank you, James.
But
James,
why omelet,
James?
Why omelet? And what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Because you got to break a few eggs, you know what I'm saying? Like, because like you got to mix some, you got to break some eggs, mix some cheese, like, because it takes a whole mess of things to get me in my place, right? Like,
Hey, Senor Omelet, I think you hear Danny rapping at the door. Before you leave, who is your favorite character? Who's your favorite character in the movie?
My favorite character is William Forsythe. You know what? Or Mr. Forsythe. Like that guy, like he has such an intensity. Like everything in his face is just so fucking crazy. And seeing him all tatted up and stuff from the beginning, I was like, yeah, that guy fucks some shit up,
Those
like
tats
that guy.
are sweet.
like, you know, and look at that nickname. His nickname's Franchise.
Yeah.
Oof.
I like a franchise. Like a franchise, yeah, that's my dude. I want that franchise, dude. Like I like that guy. Like,
What's your nickname, Senor Omelet?
Omelet. You think I'm gonna come? You think
I thought
you
that
think
was
my
your
mama
given
gave me
name.
omelet? You think my mama gave me omelet?
Yeah.
No, man.
Okay, well, then
That's
what's
my
your real
nickname.
name?
My nickname's Omelet.
What's your real name then?
My nickname?
Or is that
My
going to
real
put you on
name?
blast? Are people going to come after you?
People,
You know what? It's been so long, and you know, I'm pretty sure ain't nobody coming after old Omelet. I'll tell you.
Old Omelet.
Senior Omelet. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, King. Like, thank you, King. Yeah, thank you, King. Like Senior Omelet. That's right. No, my real name, you know, is Frederick Feinstein.
Frederick Feinstein.
You
Nice.
do, yeah, they say you do put the fine in Feinstein.
Feinstein.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Yeah, you
All right,
you
Mr.
take it
Feinstein.
easy, Mr. Senor Old Omelet Man. I
For
can't
real, now,
believe
don't tell nobody what I told you here. I had to protect my identity. Now you know
I
why
never
it's
would
so
think of it.
important to hide myself. You know, what if they knew where I was at, they'd come get me.
Final question.
All right, yeah.
Final question. Score out of 100 for things to
okay.
do in Denver. From
Yeah,
Oh,
Sorry,
wait. I mean, from little old me,
little omelet. Little old
I'm the Senior Omelet.
I'm gonna give it a 83 out of 100.
out of 140
All right.
or yes, 100.
All
That's
right.
right. There's this guy
I gotta
Danny
go-
that
I
broke
gotta
the
go-
scale, but you know Danny, right?
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm not like who's gonna go breaking a scale? You know,
I know. Isn't
things
that
go
crazy?
From 0 to 100, like that's it. There
Don't
ain't
tell
no
him I told you though.
101,
Don't tell him I
102.
was. Yeah.
I'm not telling him
I
shit.
don't-
What do you think of Danny?
Tell him shit.
What do you think of
Oh,
Danny?
he's
He's a
cool.
nice guy, huh?
He's cool. He's cool. I like him. He's got some beautiful children. That's for sure.
That
You
is
know?
true. That is true.
He does. That he does.
Yeah, he's a good
yeah.
father.
Real
He's a-
cool.
he's a
Real,
great father.
real,
Real, cool,
you know,
real great children.
Well, I'm gonna make
Yeah,
sure I
yeah.
tell him that he looks like he's ready
He's-
to jump back
yeah,
in,
he's-
and we are a 3 Max podcast as
All right.
we've done in the past. So you enjoy your day, Mr. Omelet. I know
I gotta
you got
go
things to
hop
do.
on
You
this
got things
fan
to do.
boat.
You
I'll
got
see y'all
things-
later.
Yeah, you got things to do. Anyways, what a character! I can't believe we've had just a little call-in
Yep.
from
a little stop by
from somebody who
drive by fruiting.
a drive-by fruiting. Hello. I mean, I don't even know his real identity besides Frederick Feinstein. But,
Yep. I mean,
I wonder.
all you sleuths.
I wonder if I'll be able to talk to him again in the future of our podcast. Would be interesting
never know.
to check in, and if we ever do another gangster movie or something, because he seems like a pretty invaluable resource for consulting about gangster movies. I could have had him here all day. Danny, you're back.
Hey, Danny, you're not going to believe
You
this.
missed the most fascinating individual.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, man. He had the nicest
You're
things
not-
to say about you as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
And your
wait, you guys
children.
talked to Fred? You guys talked
Yeah.
to Fred? Oh,
Frederick
yeah,
Feinstein, otherwise known as
Frederick
Senor
Feinstein.
He's real
Omelet.
cool. Yeah, I met him at my synagogue. Yeah, he's a real cool guy.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Shalom.
Yeah, just the nicest thing to say
mazel,
about
mazel.
you. He
Yeah.
says Things to Do in Denver Before You're Dead is the most accurate movie, but still just gave it an 83.
We didn't.
Okay.
Even though that's like his favorite.
Oh, wait, is he back?
Oh, wait.
What? No. What? What?
Okay.
We're having some audio technical difficulties.
There's a blip. Must be a blip.
That's a loop. That's a loop blip. It's a
Must be
blip. Let's get into some reviews from some critics that hated this shit. Let's start
Nice.
with 37% from the critics. Jonathan Rosenbaum from Chicago Reader says, "Alas, most of the surprise and the wit to be found here ends with the title."
Oh,
Emmanuel
Jonathan.
Levy says, "The Tarantino Effect at its worst, yet another movie about a relentlessly violent gang reportedly based on a bet the director made with Tarantino. I don't know what that story is. I'm curious. From Washington Post, Rita Kempley gave it a 10 here on Metacritic, as I'm broadening the search a bit. Ought to be the subject of an obituary, not a review. Wow. A creepy film noir modeled on Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. It was a stinking stiff on arrival.
Yeesh, poopy.
From Christian Science Monitor. Like a nincompoop version of The Usual Suspects.
Science Monitor. I'm trying to get all my hot takes.
Oh, they are on. They're
on it.
They're a verified critic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
San Francisco Examiner. What's that? Oh, what's that omelet? God,
Omelet?
That's weird. It just keeps on like his audio is coming back in.
I don't know, man.
San Francisco Examiner says things to do in the movie theater until you mercifully die of boredom sums up this witness response to the ordeal of sitting through this movie.
Wow.
Entertainment Weekly.
These guys are mean.
Its greatest achievement is that there isn't a single convincing scene in it.
Whoa. I mean, so
that's kind of like answering wrong on all the multiple choice answers. Sort of.
How did you get every single one
like,
wrong?
wow,
and you know what? Like that person could say, like, at least Christopher Lloyd had a little bit of heart. Like, you know, that's where it's like, there's like people doing.
I'm cherry picking some of these reviews. Maybe they put some other flavor in there, but overall,
not a single convincing. That guy really, that guy had a bad day in the theater.
I had a snap brim hat, Marty.
I had a snap brim hat.
When I walked in a room, forget about it. TV Guide magazine gave it a 40, largely vapid, borderline homophobic, and surprisingly treacly.
Yeah.
Borderline, no, it's homophobic.
It's
it is not hiding that.
Not borderline about that.
Hiding it.
It is not. This is not hiding that. Be in the room with Christopher Walken for 2 seconds. Yeah. Let's hear some positive reviews from the audience who gave it an average score of 72% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
A 5-star review from Connor Marshall says, probably my favorite movie. I may be biased because I'm from Colorado and enjoy the setting. Which, if you are from Denver, you will recognize a lot of iconic Denver things. Big Head Todd and the Monsters music. Union Station, Bluebird Theater, 5 Points, the Denver Natural History Museum. That is where they have a date. Lakeside, Flatirons, Denver high-rises, and more. Truly amazing how unpopular this movie is.
Beat people up at.
Despite its stellar cast, great soundtrack, and in my opinion, an authentic mob feel. I mean, that's what Almut said.
Yeah.
growing up in Denver, my dad and I seemed to be the only people who knew about it. I actually kind of like it that way. Something about the simplicity of the action or job they are ordered to do for Christopher Walken alludes to how the mob used to operate. $50,000 just to intimidate the boyfriend of his son's first love. The action goes terribly wrong, and now Jimmy the Saint and his crew, with many notable actors, including Christopher Lloyd, are doomed to be buckwheats by the famous hitman Mr. Shush. And a romantic, comedic, and sad tale ensues as Jimmy tries to redeem himself and make amends. I find it very artistic, entertaining, authentic, and highly underrated. Boat drinks.
That's right.
Boat drinks.
From Travis Sims, 5 stars. One of the greatest appeals of this film is its vernacular. Aside from being cast beautifully by talented actors in diverse roles set in an interesting story, it's the dialogue that is extremely memorable. That and its great title. And with such a great cast and dialogue, I'm absolutely stunned as to how this great little film slipped through the cracks and didn't get a wider audience. Its theatrical run here in Toronto was limited. Actually, I'm making an assumption. I don't recall a listing for it, but before you knew it, it was gone. Perhaps it wasn't marketed well or supported strongly enough.
What a roller coaster.
This is... Yeah, we'll do 1 or 2 more. From P-Flow, 5 stars. Top film, one of my all-time faves. Boat drinks. Expert Jimmy the Saint Tazia is trying to get his best to go legitimate until he's dragged back into the world of crime for one last seemingly simple mission. They keep on saying simple. I'm blown away that this is the second time someone has said simple, describing the mission of roughing up this PETA, or sorry, the boyfriend of the ex of a PETA.
Yeah.
Like, it's not simple. I can't even explain it quick enough. All Jimmy and his eccentric cronies have to do is intimidate their target. but they make a disastrous series of mistakes that result in the death of a woman connected to a powerful gangster. Before long, Mr. Shush, a notorious assassin who never slips up, is sent to take down Jimmy and his partners. I am Godzilla, and you are Tokyo!
Japan! They fucked it up. It's Japan.
They didn't even spell Tokyo right. They spelled it Tokio.
He didn't. That guy, that weirdo, didn't stick the landing.
Yeah, for your favorite movie, you would think you would know. I'll do one more from
Japan.
Ryan Barber, 5 stars. Underappreciated crime drama from the 90s that holds up to this day. Give it a watch. You'll not be disappointed. Then you can fetishize it like a hipster. You found something remarkable few people have heard of.
Wow, spicy. Oh.
Yeah, wow. He's taking swings at everybody.
Do you think he'd be mad at us talking about it as long as we've had?
Furious.
After just finding out about it, Ryan Barber's like, you motherfuckers don't even know.
Oh,
we don't.
God forbid.
I'm the hipster that fucking dragged this up, and I'm sure. I wonder what
how hipster are we?
Think about. I don't know. I wonder if Omelet seems like a more real dude. He doesn't fucking care. If you watch this movie, I'm sure Omelet would be like, "Good, it's a good movie. You should watch it. Good for you." Ryan Barber is trying to be gatekeepy about it. Get over it. Take a chill pill, Ryan Barber. Well, I think the polarization. This kind of is a cult classic, I'm realizing. Like, I feel like that word gets thrown around, like that phrase
but this is it.
Thrown out around a bit because, like, but then those cult classics end up being just like fucking classics. A lot of the cult classics, I feel like, have gotten there. And so to actually be a true cult classic and only like few people love it, and the people that do are really vocally like strong and like it a lot.
Oh.
And to hear your review of someone from Denver was pretty cool too. But that's my read on it. Danny or Brandon, if you want to give any sort of thoughts on the polarization side of things. And then Danny, you're welcome to start with your review as well, whenever you're ready.
All right. Brandon, you want to go or you want me to go? Oh, me? Yeah.
I just like to, like, if you guys have anything to, because I think like hearing those reviews, knowing that this is a polarizing movie, like why that is
let's
a little bit.
Keep it to almost like
I like to touch on that a little bit, but then just get into some final thoughts too.
I mean,
let's keep it to a letterbox, Danny. Let's keep it to like 1 or 2 sentences. Like why is this movie polarizing?
I mean, I'd say, I think
your final thoughts, maybe. Yeah.
I think you got a lot of like, if you look at what it is entirely, then it's a mess. It's got a lot. You want it to be good. It's got a lot of good people in it. And but
there it is.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Totally.
Any final thoughts? A score you would ascribe to it? That I know we got an 83 from Omelet already, so I'm curious to hear how yours compares.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say
you guys seem like tight.
We go pretty far back. I mean, he's like since his kid's bar mitzvah. Yeah.
However, I could tell some tension when like he could not leave the room quick enough when you were coming in, but I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
2 ships passing in the night.
Yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn, but we'll we'll let that relationship develop.
So
on its own.
Yeah, he had some good points. I'm going to say I come in at maybe just an even 80. Just keep it nice. And I mean, there was some stuff I liked in this. I'm going to say that
Senor Omelet are tight.
And I mean, like that 80 is also saying like, it's not a great movie, like we were saying before, but how much was I entertained and how much fun I was having? I had no problem watching it again. So, that's where it's like there's some fun things happening here, and it feels like a little bit of like a hidden gem in the treasure box that is like the 90s cinema. So like, I had never heard about it until like maybe like a couple months ago.
Because you're a fucking hipster.
I'm such a hipster.
I'm glad you did hear about it.
Yeah, me too.
You gave 80%?
Yeah, I'm going to throw an 80 at it. Okay. Call it a D.
Excellent. Mr.
For me, this movie falls into the category of a good, bad movie. A lot of the stuff in the plot is confounding, and it's fun to think about why somebody would make such a confounding decision for a direction in the plot. And the things that people say are so memorable in a way that is also kind of meme-ish and ironic. And that too makes a good, bad movie. And I'm so down to be a part of the cult that is fans of this movie, because even though it is stupid and gross and weird at times, it's not nearly as gross and weird as From the Beyond that Danny had me watch.
That movie's awesome.
And so for that, I give it a 79%.
Holy shit. You guys are spicy on this movie.
Are you Price is writing me?
Yeah, I think so. You went over. I'm sorry. This is a surprise to me. I thought this movie was worth a watch in a group setting with a little drinky or a little smoky and with some buddy old pals.
That sounds so fun.
But maybe just once for me. I do not see myself wanting to watch this again. This movie was like, overall, the subject content was upsetting for me. This was like a downtrodden, dark movie filled with some unredeemables. Maybe just Christopher Walken. Maybe, yeah. Critical Bill and Fecal Freak was rough, a little rough, yeah. But this was like something to behold. Like, this was something that was weird, and just, I thought that road shootout scene was a pretty good little bit of filmmaking in terms of ratcheting tension, having a shootout, having something that changes the stakes in a big way that alters the second half of the movie. Those are situations in a movie that I enjoy a lot, but in the context of everything else, it wasn't worth it. Even the so bad it's good things like aren't going to be worth it for, I think, the majority of people, because it starts on a really fucked up, twisted note, like right off the bat, and then the inciting incident to propel things along is even weirder. And then the second half is kind of strangely generic. It's such a strange movie. I'm happy I watched it mainly for the fact that I know that we were going to talk about it, and the fact that Brandon and I got to watch it together, that was worth it. I'm glad it was brought to our attention, but I don't think it's a good movie. I find it tough to rank in the typical sort of way of like, yeah, watchability as well as, you know, whether it's good or not. But I do think it's not as watchable for me in comparing how you guys kind of expressed it. And I do think it's a bad movie. So I'm going to go pretty low on this. I think I'm going to go 38.
Nuts.
38. I think it's pretty bad.
Dude, put it, yeah.
But man, was it fun to talk about? Was it pretty fun to take it in with you, Brandon? But a lot of times I was just like, oh my God, is this really fucking happening right now? Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, are you serious? Like, are you serious, movie? Like, I could not believe what was happening.
Right to jail.
Yeah. And it goes right to jail, but I don't know. It's a 90s Pulp Fiction knockoff that has some really memorable moments and scenes and is really fucking weird. And more and more I've been wanting to broaden my movie horizons and my what I've seen, and just to add this to the list, I think was it was worth it, and it had some actors that were giving their best performances. I don't know, Christopher Walken gave it his all. Andy Garcia, I want to watch more of his performances too, but you know.
To close this out, so I would say this is the Southland Tales of the 90s.
Holy shit. I mean, you would be the one to judge, so yes, we'll go with that. And, the Brandini, we got to talk about Southland. I think it's a magnetized movie, but I feel like we just got to like have a bonus ep of us talking about that or something, or a commentary or something, because that
I could do
a whole podcast just about that.
8 hours on scene shot by shot of dude. Oh my god, would I love to do a scene by scene of Southwell Tales.
I need to do it. But for now, I want to take one more quick break, and then I was going to come back for a little game if you guys are game. And we'll get into it. Cool. All right, I'll be quick. And welcome back, everybody. We're going to play a game of Polarized Pod Smoke or Fire movie edition.
Oh no, I don't have a okay, let me go get a drink.
You don't need a drink, but if you got one,
I'm going to get
Des, bring me up a drink.
if you smoke them, if you got them, smoke them. Damn it, I did it backwards. Shit.
If you smoke them, got him.
If you smoke them, got them. Okay, that's what I
like that better anyway. If you smoke them, got him.
Maybe I've already gone there, my friend. Maybe I've already started with step 1 or 2. I don't know which step it is anymore.
If you smoke them, got him. I like that.
You haven't played this one with us, Danny. I don't think this is essentially my version of what I've tried to do with the card game. If anyone's played it out there,
I remember Smoke or Fire.
Yeah, and what I essentially have tried to do is equate that to the rotten or fresh, but it's Smoke or Fire. For nice. I guess I could call it rotten or fresh, but it's Smoke or Fire. So the scoring system I'm still figuring out, but I think it'll be fun. So we're gonna give it a shot here. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
All
so
right.
Does smoke mean fresh or fire mean fresh?
I guess fire would be fresh. Fire would be fresh, and smoke would be like pu smoky doo doo. Okay. And it's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm not even going to have to explain because I'm going to ask you very direct questions, and it's gonna work. So we'll start with Danny. We're doing all Andy Garcia movies today on Smoke or Fire movie edition. So they are all Andy Garcia movies. So we'll get into the swing of things. It's really just going to be me. I'm just going to ask you right off the bat. What is the first movie we're going to start with is The Untouchables. The Untouchables with Andy Garcia. Danny, I want you to guess the closest you can to what the critic score is for The Untouchables.
I'm going to say a 92.
92. Now, if you would have gotten it exactly right, I'm trying to decide how many points that would be. I would say like 3 points at least, because it's a big thing. You didn't get it right.
If I get it exactly right, then somebody's got to strip.
It's going to be like 3 to 5 points. And it's gonna be
one article of clothing is coming off.
Yeah.
But
would you
Brandon
say
loses?
you said 92?
Yeah.
So Brandon, is it higher or lower?
Higher
than 92. Higher. It is lower.
Fuck.
So then I win.
So I'll give Danny a point here.
All right.
I'm going to drink.
There you go.
Okay, so wait, what is the next part? Okay, so it is 83, just so we know. The critic score is 83. And then Danny.
Yeah, I figured they'd love that.
Or no, this question would be for Brandon. Brandon. Is the audience score higher or lower than the critic score? I'm trying to work this out. Sorry if this is complicated, but is it?
No, that's okay.
It's higher.
That is correct. So you get a point. And there could be some drinks being passed around here too, if you guys are feeling it. All right.
I'm gonna dab when I get it wrong.
So Danny, the audience score is higher. What is that audience score?
Gonna go with 92.
It is not. It is higher or lower than a 92, Brandon.
It is higher.
It is not. It is an 89.
So then I get a point?
Yeah, so I gave you a point. So now it is 2 points to Danny, 1 point to Brandon. I'm figuring it out. I feel like I'm working out like the who I should be asking which question to at which time, but I'm working it out. So we're going to move on here to the second Andy Garcia movie. And we're going to start with Brandon instead because we started with Danny last time. So, Brandon, what you got to do is you got to guess what the critic score is of Godfather Part 3.
53.
53. It is not a 53. Danny, is it higher or lower than that?
I'll say higher.
Higher, you are correct.
Okay.
And then I would ask Danny, is the audience score higher or lower than the critic score? Which is a 66.
I'm going to say higher.
Higher.
Ooh.
You are correct.
Yeah. Oh, that was a tricky one, though. Not a lot of good reception to that one.
Oh, wait. I was supposed to ask you what the audience score was. Damn it. I'm messing this up. Damn it. Okay. I'm slowly, I'm want to make this game work so bad, but I'm sorry. It's just
all right. Right now I'm winning, so I'm happy.
This is a trial run. Brandon, I'll give you a chance. What is the audience score for Godfather Part 3?
62%.
It was a 67. You were close. All right. We're going to try this again. Is this okay? Are we having fun yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the critic score for Ocean's 11? Danny.
The new okay. Critic score Ocean's 11. I'm going to go 87.
87. It is not 87. Brandon, is that higher or lower than 87?
Higher.
That is incorrect.
Fuck.
It is.
And then what?
An 83
do I get?
Is the correct critic score. So now I ask Danny, what is the audience score of Ocean's 11?
I'm going to say 87.
That is incorrect. Brandon, what is the audience score of Ocean's 11? Is it higher or lower than 87? You think it's higher than 87 for audience?
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Got him again.
It is an 80 is the audience score for Ocean's 11.
Wow. So critics liked it more than audience did.
I got to get the questioning part down a little bit tighter and what questions I ask in what order. But I'm going to try one more and we'll call it. I could do two. I have extra, but we'll do one more. Geostorm. Brandon, what is the critic review score for Geostorm? It 56. Must be a critically favored movie.
56.
56 for Geostorm. It is not a 56. Danny, is it higher or lower than a 56?
Lower.
That is correct.
Damn.
It is a 17. Brandon, is the audience score higher or lower than a 17? Higher. That is correct. See, now that's the question I've been missing on some of these. I'm sorry. Is that one? Is because that's the polarization part of it. I'm sorry, everybody. This is rough. But this is how we do these.
Okay, we're having fun.
And then now we go to Danny. What is the audience score of Geostorm?
I'm gonna say a 38.
That is close, but incorrect. Is it higher or lower than 38? Brandon?
It is higher.
It is lower. It is a 35.
Wow.
So Danny has a lot of points here. But we could do one more just for the hell of it if you guys want. And then we'll wrap it up. What is the critic score for Mamma Mia? Here we go again, Danny.
Oh shit. Say I bet like a 78.
It is not a 78. Is it higher or lower than a 78, Brandon?
Higher.
That is correct. It is a 79. You were fucking close, Danny. You were very close. Mm-hmm. What is the audience score for Mamma Mia, Brandon?
It's a 83.
That is incorrect. Is it higher or lower than an 83, Danny?
Higher?
It is lower as a 66.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was 4-8. Danny, I believe, was the final score. Still working out the kinks of the game. Thank you for joining me on this ride for Smoke or Fire movie edition.
Yeah.
Trying to work it out. There's some... okay, I'll stop. I'm harping on it too long. It's been a pleasure with you guys talking about things to do in Denver when you're dead.
When you're dead.
Things to do in the polarized kingdom when you're alive is talk about batshit movies with your good buds like Danny and the omelet. It's double guest time on this podcast. Danny, we really appreciate you joining us. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap things up? Or anything else you didn't get to say?
You know what? I think, what hasn't been said. The only thing I can say, fellas,
man.
Boat drinks, fellas. Boat drinks.
Cheers to that.
Boat drinks.
Clink, clink, clink.
Chin, chin.
Clinky, clinky. Now I will announce our next movie. If anyone wants to join us next time, we will be watching 1984's Dune, directed by David Lynch. A critically panned movie at 37%, an audience favored movie at 65%. I don't know if that's completely favored, but it's definitely better than a 37%. And It was pretty divisive when it came out. And with the release of Dune Part 2, Dune Done, I believe, is what past guest Chip had slated it as. There were a couple others that were really good that he was pitching some Dune sequel subtitles for. But we will be watching the David Lynch movie that he hates to fucking talk about, and we will be talking about it. We love you all. If you want to see us live recording this, twitch.tv/polarizedpod. Send us a line at gmail.com. PolarizedThePod at gmail.com. PolarizedThePod@gmail.com. We would also appreciate a rate and review on Apple Podcasts.
Helps us out a lot.
That would be lovely. Danny, thank you again. Mr. Omelet, Senor Omelet.
Your omelet.
A real one. We'll see you next time in Denver. We love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Boat drinks.
Boat drinks.
Boat drinks.
Right.